Welcome back to another reaction video. I just wanted to say thank you much for tuning in. Got this little preface before, got a new mic, and today we're going to be reacting to a bunch of different racing games. So don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy, and without any further ado, we're going to get right into it. We're starting off here with Art of Rally. I just played this game somewhat recently for the first time on my friend's Xbox. It was something alright. It had decent quality. I like the low poly kind of atmosphere, but it's gotta be a B, I think. It wasn't anything super special. Right on to Asphalt 7. I'm gonna give this a B also. I think there's gonna be a lot of B's in this, but that's just based on the two we've got here. Asphalt 7, I don't think it was really anything too crazy about it. It was one of the it was the Asphalt game that got me back into playing Asphalt, because I played 2 and 3. I believe number 2 I played on Game Boy, but I don't remember. But I played 2 and 3 and a couple of the other earlier ones. I think I've played all of them at least once, but 7 was the one that did get me back in, but it wasn't anything special. And 8, Asphalt 8, I'm gonna give it a little higher because I think that was a better game. I think that was more complete. I really enjoyed playing that, and I think it had probably the essence of what an Asphalt game is. And I want to say forgive me for looking over here. My screen's right here. My camera's right between my two screens. It's like, all right. Asphalt 9. A also. Because I think they changed it a bit. I like the new style. It's not necessarily new style, but it's still very much an Asphalt game. I I like it over 8, even though I just said 8 is the essence of what Asphalt is. I very much enjoy 9, but it's something different. Assetto Corsa. S. Probably one of my least played racing sims on the racing wheel here and in VR, but that is a game that I really enjoy, and it's not a game like Project Cars where it's got real wonky physics. It's not a game like Assetto Corsa Competizione with its like specifically GT3, GT4, and it's not something all out crazy with race cars like iRacing or Race Room Experience or something like that where it's all everything. I like Assetto Corsa because it's the game that I can play if I just want to drive like an 8.6 and I can just cruise it around a track, but there is also the race cars and the F1 cars and everything like that inside of it. So it's a good blend of kind of casual sim driving for me. Like it's the fun game that I want to do that with. I've heard of this game, Automobilista, not Automobilista. Never played it. BeamNG Drive, masterpiece. I don't know if it's actually out of early access yet or not. I haven't paid close attention to it. That's another fun game on the racing wheel. I hope someday they put VR into it because I've played it a little bit with the Vorpix driver, but it's not great with the Vorpix, but Vorpix itself is not fantastic. It takes a lot of setup. But I've got a spare screen just off camera, and it's really fun to play on the wheel. And it's the ultimate sandbox driving game. Big Rigs, never played. Blur, masterpiece. Not even going to discuss that one. That is my child. I know it's not a sim, and I think I will probably find a lot more faults on the various sim games, versus the games that make no sense will probably end up higher, like Blur. Like it's Mario Kart with real cars. The Burnouts. These were also my childhood games. I'm gonna give Burnout 1 a B because I'm a little bit lenient. And the first game in the series usually gets a little bit of a pass for me because they were trying to do something different, innovating. But I think that was a good, solid game. Now, Burnout 2, D tier. I could never figure out how that game worked. The handling felt trash to me. I know it's not Sim or anything like that, but it's so inconsistent. Now, Burnout 3, on the other hand, A tier. Great game. I would say one of the top Burnouts, but not anything there. It's like super crazy. Never played Dominator. Paradise is also going to get an A. I very much enjoyed all of the different little aspects of Paradise. I think that Burnout Paradise is probably the top Burnout game just because of somewhat ease of crashability in that you could just take out your opponents very easily, the other computers, and the free roam was great. Doing all the challenges for the cars, taking them down, earning them. I think that was great. I honestly wish for a new Burnout game, but I don't think EA will ever do anything like that. Burnout Revenge, also A tier. I think I go back to remembering that this game was fairly hard for a Burnout game, but I think it also is probably the most Burnout. That it was the crashiest, the one with like I think it was they were called rampages and stuff where you just press it was either both bumpers or both triggers, something like that. That would cause you to go into the carnage mode and like you just destroy, and that was great. I would say that is the soul of what a Burnout game is. I played the first original Cars game, but that's it. I don't have any experience with the rest of them. Now, Colin McRae Rally. In my head, I was telling myself Richard Burns Rally, but I don't know if I've played this. I think I have. It looks familiar. I'm gonna give it a B because I think I remember it was something decent. I didn't know there was a second, so no. Never played Crash Day. Crazy Taxi. Solid D tier. I know it's kind of considered a cult classic. No, not for me. Dangerous Driving. C tier. Absolutely a fun game. No, it's not a great game by any means. It's a fun game, not a great game. It would be a game that I'd recommend, but it's not a great game. Never played the first Dirt, the Colin McRae Dirt series. It kind of became the Ken Block Dirt series. Whatever. So Dirt 1, never played. Dirt 2, I played of a little bit, and I'm going to give it a C tier. But I think that's based on like memory and not necessarily knowing like what was going on because I was fairly young when I played that. But I'm gonna give Dirt 3 an S tier. I loved that. I loved the outlook of like the unfolding triangles, the pyramid type stuff in the menu. The game was great. The physics were all right for what it is. I think it's a good game. It's S tier. Now Dirt 4, I'm gonna give it an S tier, but it's certainly just. I loved the my track like experience with it. I loved having the livery editor versus the Dirt Rally games where you actually like made your cars versus the Dirt Rally games have like a preset of like 7 or something and they're just colors. It's not really a livery on most cars. Versus the like personalized track thing, I think that was great, but it needs to be evolved upon. That it I enjoyed it, but it's and you're playing different stages, but you notice a lot of the same corners. Dirt 5. I haven't played yet. I bought it probably about 2 months ago now, and I just haven't opened it. It's been a game that's just been sitting there. Dirt Rally 1. A tier. The For it having VR, for it having the great handling, I think it's fantastic. But the only reason I put it A tier is because I think Dirt Rally 2 blows it out of the water. I love the competitiveness. I love the challenges. I love the all of the different elements of Dirt Rally 2, and I only put Dirt Rally down there, Dirt Rally 1, because I think Dirt Rally 2 blows it out of the water. You know what? I take it back. This is how we're doing this, because I think it deserves it. Dirt Rally 2 blows it out of the water. One of my favorite games. The VR, fantastic. I love it on the racing wheel. I've got my handbrake. I'm all about rally. Most of my sim racing experience and all of that comes on dirt from Rallycross. Not necessarily the game dirt, but like dirt terrain. And I understand the slidiness, which is or not if, when I start posting videos of like me doing the AC career mode and playing my F1 2021. I am a dirt racer. I am not asphalt high downforce. I'm a very mechanical grip, slidey surface area, and I'm not really a drifter either, but I can hold my car. I don't have the ability to snap my car into a drift and hold it and then keep like manjiing it, but I don't have that ability. But when it comes to like dirt rally, when you're turning a corner and you feel the back end go and you correct it and you keep it going, it's yeah, I can do that. Dirt Showdown. I'm gonna put that as not played. I did play it somewhat, but I really don't remember it. Actually, because I have played it, it's gonna go to D tier, just because I'm gonna say it's so bad that I don't remember it. I blocked it out of my memory. Distance. B tier. Apparently this game's VR compatible. I don't necessarily know how, but it's a fun little kind of track runner that you make tracks and you can run it. It's a little competition thing. You change from It's similar to Mario Kart but without power-ups. You get to dodge lasers, dodge saw blades and stuff. The different obstacles on the course with your boost and competing against others or time trial. But it's a good fun game. It's a solid game. It gets B tier because it's there. It's not a game I play very often, but it's there and I think it has good heart if it's something you're looking for kind of competitive time trial-ish keyboard gameplay. Drive Club. I'm very sad such disappointed about this game because I really, 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 really wanted to play this game. This is the game I was super excited about. Haven't played it, and it's because the servers are down now, and I don't see a point in buying it if the servers are down because a lot of the stuff is inaccessible. Yeah, it's a game that I'm really hyped over, and based on what it looks like, it's a game that looks like I would give it an A tier. But since the servers are shut down and I haven't got to play it, it's it's just there. Driver 1. There's not much I really remember about this game. I remember renting it a lot as a child and like, well, I say child, but like early teen. I never understood it. I couldn't get my head wrapped around how the game worked. So it it gets a C because it seemed to be a fun game for teenage me, but I didn't get it. I never played Driver 2. And Driver San Francisco, it's not a masterpiece, but it's an S tier. It is one of the dumbest, brilliant games at the same time. Just being able to cause a pileup from switching car to car to car to car. And being able to win races by literally throwing buses at your opponents. Or just racing if you wanna. It I it's a great game. I've never heard of this game. Enthusia? Don't know. Euro Truck Simulator. Um, S. I wish it was a little bit more in depth, I want to say, but I can't say that because it literally covers all of Europe, and it with the DLCs you can expand it super far, like all of the continent and everything. I wish the scale was a little bit more with it. Is really the only thing that holds it back for me, like a slightly larger scale, the trips take a little longer, but I love this game. Absolutely. I wish the VR was a touch better on it. I love this game. I wish I had a button box just for this game. I don't even care about the other racing sims like Project Cars, AC, ACC, what any of them. I don't care. I want a button box for ETS just because I think that would do the game justice, not even with all the other racing games. Now it's unfortunate that they had to specifically pick F1 2012 because I personally think 2012 and 2013 were kind of trash, unfortunately. Not the seasons, the actual F1 seasons were probably the best ever. The games unfortunately are trash, and pretty much since the like 2014 2015 games, I think 2014 wasn't much better, but since 2015 the games have been pretty good in my eyes. I mean, obviously there's the glitches and stuff here and there, but I'd say the games are pretty good. And noting on that, I'd give 2020 an S with the my team and the physics, and I think it's great with the driver swaps and all that stuff. That wouldn't be in 12. Certainly, I'm one to recommend F1 2021. I know that's 2020, but the new game, absolutely. The first flat out, never played. Ultimate Carnage, S tier. I still play this game sometimes. I love it. It's one of my favorite racing games still. I love the soundtrack. I love the wrecking. I love the atmosphere. It's enough wrecking and enough carnage, but it doesn't overdo it. The whole point of the game obviously is like demo derby type, but like it's not you just hit a car and they explode like it does in Burnout. I mean, Burnout does that well, or does how they do it as well. They do it very well, but the Flat Out series, well, specifically Ultimate Carnage, they do it right. That it's a demo derby, you wreck, and obviously you're taking health away from your opponent's car versus it just you take them out. Now, when it comes to Asphalt, or not Asphalt, wow, I saw Asphalt 9 there. Flat Out 2, I think that was an alright game. Same thing with Flat Out 3. They're both good games, but they're not great. And same with Flat Out 4. Like, they're very much Flat Out games, and they very much got that core in them. But I think Ultimate Carnage is fantastic, and unfortunately, the like actual lineage of the Flat Out games I've never played the first one, so I don't know. But like the lineage is, I'd say it just always slightly misses that core or that that's that little extra that Ultimate Carnage gets. Now, unfortunately, out of these Ford racings, one of them was mediocre and the other one was great. I don't remember. So I'm gonna give 2 a B and 3 a C because I think the first and third were alright and the second one was pretty okay. I still own the first and second one, and I have Ford versus Chevy, I think it is, or it's Corvette versus Ford or something, for the PlayStation 2 still that I break out every so often. Not very often, but every so often. On to the Forzas. Let's see. Horizon 1, S tier. Obviously, like the Forza games in period, especially the Horizons, that they are not sim games. They're simcade, and the Horizon's definitely more arcadey than the Motorsports. But if you know Forza, you know that going in, and don't judge the game based on that. You judge it on what the game is. I think Horizon 1 is an S tier. I think Horizon 2, with the trips between the multiple things, is a masterpiece. I love Horizon 2. This is the one that I always find myself going back to. And unfortunately, with it being the second game, the map wasn't too crazy, too big, and I wish it was. I wish the map was much larger. I'm very hyped for Horizon 5. I want to see the size of the map because I want a larger map for Horizon. Now, 3 was an A tier. I'm an off-road man and I loved the off-roading in the Outback in Australia, but and I loved the leveling up system of the like festivals. But I wish they kept the road trip type thing of 2. Now Horizon 4, I thought they brought it back and it's an S tier. I do think that they brought it back a little bit and I liked the house buying aspect even if it wasn't quite what a lot of us wanted, but I think it was alright. Now on to Motorsport 3. I believe it was this game that had the calendar type thing that like as you did them it progressed on the calendar and it was like every weekend or like twice a week you had your race in your specific division. But I loved that idea, like seeing that you're progressing through time, through the years and stuff like that. But and while this was the first Forza game with the in-car view and it looks really good, I think it falls flat for a Forza game. And I would probably put Motorsport 2 there next to it if that was in here. But eh. Now Motorsport 4 is a masterpiece. I love Motorsport 4. I am die hard for this game, and you cannot convince me that it's anything but a masterpiece. Now Horizon 5, garbage. It's the first and only game that gets, well, I can't say only, because there are certainly more on this list, but it's the first game that makes its appearance to the garbage because just the grass on that game alone was quicksand, and you either had no grip on it or it pulled you in and you were smacking the wall with Mach 1000 speed with 12 billion pounds of force. It didn't matter. If you touched a millimeter of grass, you're dead. That's it. Now, Forza 6 somewhat fixed this problem, and I would blame that kind of based on just them getting used to the Xbox One. So, when Forza 8 comes out, if it comes out, I think they will do a much better job being able to know what the new series of Xbox does, hopefully, and extracting what it can do, along with knowing that the mistakes that they made on 5 and 6, because those were not 6 was not necessarily a bad game, but it I don't think it was really a Forza game. It didn't capture the heart of what it is. However, Forza 7 I think brought it back. I think the layout and all of the menu was messy, but I think they gave us a good selection about a lot of the different tracks, the different cars. It was good. It was a simcade, obviously, as it is, but it captured it. I think it re-brought back what made 4 so good, but it quite, or wasn't quite to that standard. Fuel. I believe this was an off-roading game in the desert. It seemed really fun. I like the free roam aspect, but it I literally had no idea what I was supposed to do ever, and the whole game was pretty much alright, free roam on my, I think it was a dirt bike at the time, is what you started off with, but that's what it was. Garfield Kart. You're on the same level as Forza 5, and you're not convincing me otherwise. Grid 1. Absolute masterpiece. Regular Grid? Or Grid 2019? C tier. That game had so much potential, but with doing 3 lap races for 3 races, after 9 laps you're done with a classic car. I thought that was abysmal. Absolutely terrible. I wish there was a bit of an option to like expand your races if you wanted to do like 10 lap races in these cars, or that there was option for like a longer career, something longer, like how you can do an F1. You can choose the short season with the short races. It's made by the same company, Codemasters. The short races with the short time. If you want to do that, if you're casual, just running through all the different divisions and stuff. However, if you want to take the time and achieve getting through the divisions, kind of how you would in Project Cars, at least Project Cars 2 specifically, that you have these like long races, like just in the Janetta Juniors, which is one of the first couple of things that you do in Project Cars 2, if you have everything set to max distance, you're doing half an hour of practice with another 15 minutes of racing, with I think it was another 20-minute race on top of that, so that's just over an hour of one race in the thing, or like in your thing. You can always skip ahead if you didn't want to do that, and you can cut down the race distance to whatever you want. If you wanted the full 25-minute race, the full 20-minute race, whatever, versus having an actual 5-minute race, which might be 2 or 3 laps. You had that ability. You had the ability to turn off quali. You had the ability to turn off practice. But in grid, it didn't even tell you half the time. Doing quali, it didn't even. It gave you this short races, so quali was almost not necessarily pointless, because the quali was almost the entire game. You quali up in first, second, third, and then you have a clean run to the end for the 3 laps. But if you forget to do quali, you puts you way down and it's dumb. I'm very excited for the Grid Legends that's coming out. Now, Grid 2, not a masterpiece. I might get some flack for this because a lot of people think this was an absolutely terrible game. And I loved it. I loved the drifty, like legal racing. Like a lot of people hate Need for Speed Pro Street as well. And I enjoy it. I love the kind of legal street racing that you tat up your car, like with all your different vinyls. You see the battle scars from racing and stuff. But I loved the street circuits. I loved the racing. I loved the having a couple of real tracks in there. It for both games, in fact. And I wish the companies would do something like that, but a lot of the other fans hated it, so unlikely. But Autosport, A. I don't feel like this. I feel like this game had to go through several iterations in its launch for it to even become a decent game. And while I think it did and is now a decent game, I can't really respect it. Gran Turismo Sport. I'm gonna give this an A also, but this is a low A. Just because I loved this game. This was pretty much the game I bought a PlayStation 4 for. It was what I wanted a racing game to be, but it was never something that kept me engaged, kept me attached. Gran Turismo 2. This was the first Gran Turismo I played on my PS1. I gotta give it an A for nostalgia. I love that. I love it. I had the double disc kind of edition, and I think it was like a special limited edition, but I was too young to know because I was playing this game at like 4 or 5 years old. It it just was. I'm so hyped for Gran Turismo 6, or not Gran Turismo, for Gran Turismo 7 that they just announced, and it makes me. I saw that it's going to be released on PS4, and it makes me want to break out my PS4 again. It's been packed away for a little bit just because I bought it for mostly Gran Turismo Sport and don't play it. Now, guys, that's where we're gonna call it. I we got a pretty healthy list here, and I'm cutting it off just before we get to some of the good stuff. So make sure to come back next time and see where a lot of this other stuff ranks. I think this is just gonna be a two-parter, and I'm gonna kind of rail through a lot of these just because they are games that I know and I know where I want to put them. So come back next time, see how these other ones fare. So thank you for watching. Have a nice night. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.